I mentioned in a post that I was going to talk about those weasel out words. So weasel out words are words where people are trying to avoid commitment. So they're essentially trying to save face for later and have some sort of get out clause. So some of the things that you may say yourself or you may find other people say is, I want, I might, I could do it, rather than I will do it. So whenever it comes to setting goals or making public commitments, the majority of people do use cop-out words. I'm guilty of it too. We say, hopefully I'll finish on time, or I'll see if I can schedule it in. I'll see if I can try. See if I can try to attend the party, and so on. So whenever we use these words, we almost set ourselves up for failure because we've placed such a low priority on the task at hand or the activity that we're going to. So it sort of, as I said, gives you that get out clause. So you can say, oh look, I tried, but because of X, Y, Z, and they're your excuses. So for those who have seen Star Wars, you would have heard Mr. Yoda and his famous saying of do or do not, there is no try. And he's spot on. And I mean, there's a lot of things that we can actually learn from Star Wars. So saying that you will give something a try, it means that you've essentially put it way down on the priority list. So when we use words, they have a lot of power over our behaviours. So for the process, I guess, when we have a thought, that thought translates into an emotion, and then that emotion translates into words, and then that translates into behaviour. So we need to be really careful about the words that we use, both internally and externally, because when we say things like, I'll try and fit it in, or I'll see if I can get to it, it makes it sound like you have every good intention of doing it, but those words basically say, yep, I can exit stage left anytime I want. So rather than saying, yes, I will do it, there's a different level of commitment, both externally but also internally. I guess when we say, I'm thinking about something, or I'm thinking about, perfect example, I used to do CrossFit religiously. I was going like 9 times a week, and in between jobs I stopped just for financial reasons, and I haven't gone back. But I've said quite a few times to people who know me, oh, I'd love to go back, oh, I want to. But because I'm saying I want to, there's no denying that I do want to, but the level of commitment isn't there. And I know that when I say it because I have a busy life, and, you weigh up, depending on where your health's at and everything, what activity you're going to put in that 24 hours period. Whereas if I was to say, I will go to CrossFit, or I am going to CrossFit, that would be entirely different, and it would be an external commitment, but it would also be an internal commitment, so it would drive me to actually follow through. I guess if we listen to the words we use, we can discern 2 things. So we can discern actually what's being said, but also the feeling or the emotion behind it. On a surface level, it might seem perfectly fine to say, oh, I'll do my best to get that done, or I'll try and schedule that in, or I want to get that done. But we quickly see people who do things and people who dream about doing things. So the presence of these qualifiers like might, could, see, try, hopefully, if it's not too much trouble, aim to, would be nice, I'd like to, do my best, make it, intend to, and so on. So all of these are have this slight discord. So at a surface level, they seem perfectly innocent. They seem like somebody has good intention there, but people say one thing and feel a completely different thing when they say these words. So now that you know how easy it is to get yourself out of something, it's at a verbal level, it's a good way also to pick up when other people are saying it to you as well, and understand that there might be some incongruence between what's being said and the action that will follow, or the intention that's there. It can be something that you've been postponing for a long time. So it might be like you've got a friend and you want to catch up with them, and you say, oh, it'd be really nice to catch up. And I've been guilty of it as well. Most of us do say to somebody that we'd love to see them, and it's been ages since we've caught up. Let's have a coffee. I'd love to do that. Let's try and fit that in. So of course, when you have those qualifiers in there, you essentially allow yourself to get out of it. And I guess the thing now is like, so how do we get around this? How do we avoid how do we avoid falling into the trap of not committing? The first thing is you've got to commit internally. So it's a choice that you make that, yes, you're going to do an action, or no, you're not. It's one or the other. Like Yoda said, there's no try. It's either do or do not. So you have to decide, first of all, what's worth doing, going ahead, and what's not. Once you start living with ifs and buts, things, have this way of just not happening. So, like I said with the CrossFit, so if you say, oh, I want to, or I'd like to, but I don't have time, or I'd like to, but I don't think I can afford it at the moment. You're not going to have any action when you have all those ifs and buts in there. If you're not sure about doing something, postpone it, but set yourself a time frame so that it's very clear when you'll get started or when you'll take the next step. If you're dreaming about something, there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to have clear steps along the way, rather than saying, oh, I'd love to do that, or I'd love to go to Europe. If you don't take actual steps to save money and put money aside, make plans, even book a ticket, it's not going to happen. Good way that this can be used across the board. It's not just in your normal conversations with, say, your partner, but in the workplace. So managers, if someone's managing people and I guess the people under them aren't committing to something, to a project, and they're saying, oh, look, I'll do my best to get it done on time, there's a clear indication there that there's some incongruence with the priority level that they have, as opposed to someone say, absolutely, I'll get that done. There's a lot difference in the emotion and the behaviour that's then driven from that when we use those internal words of I will, as opposed to I'll try, or I might, or I'll give it a shot. All those words just allow you to basically have a cop-out. Children, of course, so parents, when kids are talking to you, they're not really making a clear commitment. Yeah, I'll try to be home by 10:30. I'll do my best. Again, the intention may be to be home at 10:30, but it's not a high priority if they're saying, I'll try to be home at 10:30, as opposed to I will be home at 10:30. Coaches, so whether that's working with a client, again, they're making a verbal commitment to take action on something that's been discussed. If they say, yep, I'll try not to have any chocolate through the week, or I'll try not to have that glass of wine after work, you may as well say, go have your glass of wine. You've got to say, I won't have the glass of wine, or I'll try. Big difference internally, what's going on. And obviously it's an external commitment as well, so that's also a way to encourage the behaviour for the follow through. So just a word of caution with this, of course. So now that you know what a lot of the weasel words and cop-out words are, it's not about going up to somebody as soon as they say, oh, I'll try and get that done, or I really want to get it done today. It's not a matter of pointing the finger and saying, hang on a minute, you're using a cop-out word or a weasel word. We don't want to do that. So we want to be gracious. So it's about having more of a discussion to say, look, there's no choice. We have to have this in by 5 o'clock, so it has to be done. Can you commit to having that done? So it's about getting that verbal commitment from the person to say, yes, I will get it done, as opposed to pointing the finger and saying, hang on, you said I'll try and get it done. That means that it's a low priority to you and you probably won't get it done. So we don't want any of that finger pointing, because we're guilty of it just as much as the next person, of using all these cop-out or weasel words. So we want to be gracious. We also want to see, like I said the other night, other people's map of the world, so their perspective on things, because everybody comes from it from a different perspective when they're looking at things, and we don't want to just jump in and use this cop-out hammer and bash them on the head. So now you know what cop-out words are, weasel words. Think about the words that you're using, both internally and externally, what verbal words actually come out, and sort of what behaviour follows on from that. Are you finding that when you say, oh, I'll try and get something done, or I might do this, I might go for a walk this afternoon, or what's another one? I might start CrossFit. There you go, there's another one. Really dumping myself in it tonight. So think about the words you're using internally and externally, and also see if you pick up on some of those words in workplace, at home, that people are using, and have the conversation. If it's something that needs to happen, have the conversation to get that level of commitment at a verbal level, and behaviour should follow. That's it for tonight. If you like it, share it out. Thanks guys for saying hi. Kazan, Bobby, saw a few other people there, sorry. I saw Hassan. I think they're the only ones who commented, so but thanks everyone for jumping on, and I will see you all on Friday night. Bye bye.